What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Tyler. This is the Sandworm. We finally got it back from the shop. We need to get her cleaned up from the little mud hole incident that we had. Anyways, we're gonna talk about what it's been like to have this truck for 30,000 miles. I know I did a 10,000 mile, 20,000 mile, but new things pop up. There's some new things I want to talk about that happened to the truck that didn't necessarily happen to the truck, but things to maybe watch out for if you plan to mod it, if you plan to upgrade some things, and honestly just some wear and tear to watch out for if you plan to keep it for up to 30,000 miles, which is surprising. And we're going to have a little discussion about what we think about that. All right, so we've got the truck backed out in the garage. We've got the Sandstorm sitting over there in the street. Let's talk about some things I've kind of noticed with the truck and some things that honestly the modifications kind of messed up on the truck a little bit. Not anything major, nothing major has happened to the truck. It's been great for 30,000 miles. I think we're at like 30,500 miles or something. But anyways, let's talk about it. So I'm actually going to start with the modifications. Nothing super crazy, but as you guys know, I did do a leveling kit and some bigger tires. My tires aren't anything crazy. They're not 35s or anything like that, but they are 295 by 70 on an 18-inch wheel. One thing I noticed, and it only happens to the driver's side, is when I'm on the trail and the tire gets tucked up into the fender, it likes to rub down here and pop this fender out. You can see that some of these clips are actually already broke. And if we go to the other side, this side is perfectly fine. So this side, for some reason, the tire doesn't hit on this fender. I don't understand why. It must just be a weird quirk of the truck where it just, I don't know, it just hits here for some reason, pushes this out, and this fender just pops out this way. So there's a few clips that are now broken. I do keep the extra like push clips on, but it's actually the part that holds the clip in that broke off. So I can't even put a new clip in on some of these spots if I wanted to. So that's one of the things I've noticed after 30,000 miles. Obviously, you guys know I do trail the truck, so things are gonna happen, trail damage. I mean, you can see I've completely just pushed this hub cover in, this wheel cover. Wheels are all scratched. We've got this trail damage here. That's just stuff to do with trail damage more than, you know, the actual truck, obviously. But speaking of the truck, let's go ahead and get to the point of why it was in the shop in the first place. You guys might have seen a short clip. I'll put it here. I put it in previous videos, but I'll put it here. Yeah, so we got stuck in a mud hole. No big deal. We eventually got out thanks to the traction boards, which are actually now on the Bronco. I do need to get more traction boards to keep on here. That's the problem with having two builds. You got to like double everything up that you buy, or just switch everything back and forth depending on which vehicle you're using. But anyways, yes, we got stuck in the mud, got out. The downside is when we did that, mud got caked up into the rotors and the brakes. We've got mud all the way up to this point, and there is mud that got pretty much up into like the fan area, because I could hear the fan actually hitting the mud, and you can kind of see where mud ended up in there. There's also dust and stuff, so it needs more of a cleaning, and I do need to deep clean under here. But anyways, the mud, when the mud got into the rear brake pad, it was giving me this brake pad sensor error. So I called the dealership, scheduled it to get in, and ended up taking the wheel off beforehand and found out that the sensor is broken on the brake pad. So we got that fixed. Well, actually we didn't get it fixed. It's still broken. Anyways, they took the truck apart. They told me like, yeah, you had mud caked up in the brake pads, rotors. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. I mean, the truck's dirty. I kind of cleaned it the best I could before I took it in the shop, but the brake pad sensor broke. before it broke, it told me my brake pad life was at 80%. So I was like, okay, new brake pad sensor. They are either going to cover it under warranty. If not, it's like 30 bucks to replace it from what I saw online. So they took that off, and turns out that the brake pad sensor, I don't know, I mean, they're pointless. Let me get to the point. They're pointless. It told me my brake pad life was 80% when it broke. So technically it was working up until that point, saying it was 80%. Take it into the dealership. They're telling me my brake pads are at 3 millimeters. And let me just put that into perspective for you guys. 3 millimeters is literally gonna be up in here somewhere. So not much brake pad life left. And as I was saying, we are at 30,000, just a little over 30,000 miles in the truck. We might be like 31,000. But in my opinion, because I had a sports car, I had a Challenger that went up to 70,000 miles. I got it when it had 9,000 miles. Same brake pads, a sports car, you know, doing highway runs, things like that. Never had an issue with the brakes. They didn't wear down. So, in my opinion, these things should not have been wore down that far. So they're already due to be replaced. So if you guys have been wondering why I haven't been driving it, it's because I don't want to drive it until the brake pads are replaced. I mean, I drive it here and there, but like, I'm gonna drive it tomorrow. But anyways, those brake pads should not need replaced yet. We've got some brake pads on order. We're gonna replace them. But it's not just my truck. If you check out I'll put a video link below if I can find it, but Tony the technician, he has a Colorado, or used to have a Colorado, and he made a video doing the same thing, replacing his brake pads, because he was at a similar mileage and his brake pads were just gone too. And then when the dealership pulled the front ones off, they said the front ones weren't as bad, but the front ones would need replaced too, pretty soon. So that's one of the things to watch out for when you get close to this mileage and don't trust the brake pad sensor. I actually went into my infotainment system and just turned them off, because your brakes, once they get low, they're going to start squeaking anyways. There's that little safety pin that's in them, so when they get low, they'll start squealing. So I went ahead and turned mine off, because honestly, that brake pad sensor saying my brake pads were at 80% life, completely false. Pointless. But yeah, anyways, we're getting new brake pads. So that's why the truck was in the shop, pretty much, was for that brake pad sensor. Come to find out, I need new brake pads, whatever. This next subject is more of the bed cover rather than the truck. So the bed cover, I've almost had the bed cover for the life of the truck. It's not completely waterproof as advertised, so you can hear that some mud got up in here, and so it doesn't fully operate like it's supposed to. I kind of have to force it a little bit. Probably if I clean this, it'll work. But anyways, that gets stuck now. So when I'm rolling it up, it kind of gets stuck in the flat closed position. So that's to look out for. This, I've seen people gripe on the forums, the Facebook groups, about this being not waterproof. For the longest time, I thought mine was. And then come to find out, it's obviously not. You get water in here, your straps get all moldy and stuff. You got, like, this is still wet. This ball is still wet, and the truck has been in the garage for like 2 weeks. So, make sure that you don't keep anything in that tailgate that you don't want to get wet. Even with my bed cover, stuff still gets wet in there, because the bed cover is not fully waterproof like it's advertised to be. Nothing is waterproof like it's advertised to be. Just keep that in mind. Anyways, those are the few of, I guess, complaints or gripes that I have. The tires, I mean, that's my fault. I put bigger tires on it. What should I expect? I put bigger tires on it, I trail it, of course stuff's gonna break here and there. It's just odd to me that just the one side runs into the fender, but the passenger side is fine. That's just a weird quirk of the truck. I guess something is just slightly off, just a little bit. But the brake pads, those shouldn't have been wore down. A truck that is advertised to tow 7,700 pounds and your brake pads are wearing down in 30,000 miles, not towing anything. I've towed with this truck maybe 3 times. The rest of it has been doing 5 miles an hour down trails and daily driving to work. So those shouldn't have wore down. But anyways, let's get to the good stuff that, you know, you guys, if you guys know me in real life, you know I love my truck. I baby this thing. I keep it clean. Well, except for right now, it's not really clean. But you guys know I love my vehicles, both of them. I take care of them as best I can with trailing. Accidents happen. But let's talk about the good things. So one of the good things, it's actually starting to get cold again. It was like 65 today. One of the good things about this truck is the fact that there is actually enough room for everything I need to take camping. This is more than enough truck for me. I know a lot of people dog on these smaller trucks, half-size trucks. My brother dogs on them because he's got a full-size 2500 Ram. So even people at work, they dog on the small trucks because they all have full-size trucks. But anyways, this truck has been more than enough. Plenty of bed space for camping gear, my tent, stuff I need for the dogs, stuff that I've taken to events. I've had my first event, I had that whole bed space full. I had stuff in the cab, and I was still able to take all my dogs with me and everything. And it was a tight fit. Don't get me wrong, it was a tight fit, especially with 2 German Shepherds in the back seat. It is a tight squeeze, but we made it work for the 2.5-hour drive. Plenty of space for that. If we went maybe an 8-hour drive, I'd say we were probably pushing it on the space in the truck with those 2 dogs. But other than that, space has been great. The reliability has been great. I haven't had any issues. Some people have had the issues of the radiator hose kind of leaking, and they had to replace that gasket. I haven't had to do that. I haven't had that issue, luckily. The majority of the 30,000 miles, other than the brake pads, I haven't had any issues out of this truck, knock on wood. But this truck has been amazing. It's been reliable. People say stuff about these small engines all the time. I know I'm only at 30,000 miles, and I'm sure I'll get comments like, well, wait till you're at 100,000 miles or whatever. Like, okay, fine. I'll wait till I get to 100,000 miles. But keep up with the maintenance. Keep up with everything you need to do. Keep the truck clean. Like, honestly, my truck, the whole engine bay does need clean before something breaks that I don't want to break, because there is a lot of mud and dirt dried up in there that I need to clean out. But that just comes with going on the trails and camping and hitting dirt roads and everything. But 30,000 miles, I could not be happier with this truck. It has been amazing. I know I started off with a little rant about the brake pads and everything, but that really has only been the issue of the truck. Brake pads wore down too fast. We can talk a little bit more about some of the mods. So I've had the roof rack installed for probably more than half of those 30,000 miles, so probably 20,000 miles or so. I did this all myself. Got a lot of silicone in there. We put the weather stripping back. This thing has been through snow, ice, heavy rain, thunderstorms, wind, and I have not had any leaking or anything like that. So just so you know, I'm no professional, but you guys can definitely have the confidence of installing one of these yourself if you're just patient and, you know, have a little bit of confidence in yourself. And I know some of the questions out there, you might not think to ask them, but I would, because creaking and noises in a vehicle really irritate the shit out of me. So I'm just gonna let you guys know, for 30,000 miles, a little over 30,000 miles, leaf springs, the suspension, everything is still good, in tune, no creaking, no squeaks, no squealing, no weird noises whatsoever. The only noise that I do come across is that one that's common with the window buttons right here. When you're driving, there is something in here that rattles, and I've seen people where they take a zip tie and they cut it to length and they just put it into this crack right here. I need to do that so that this stops rattling. And I know it's that because when my music's playing and I hear that rattle, I can literally just set my hand on here and it goes away. Another one I noticed, and this one might just be because the truck's dirty, is there is a rattle back here somewhere that I need to figure out. And I don't exactly know where it's coming from. I just know there's a weird rattle back here. Sounds like something's hitting this glass. I might have a rock stuck back here, honestly, something like that. But other than the door rattle, the brake pads, truck has been great. Truck's pristine. I haven't had the weird dent that people talk about in the roof, mostly probably because I don't go through an auto car wash. I wash everything myself, and I have the roof rack to protect it, so we have that. And you guys know one of the first mods I installed was the cat skin seats in the truck. These have held up great. They are way better than the factory cloth seats that were in here. I do not have the power seats, so I have like literally the base model seats and then just put cat skin leather on them. These things have been awesome. They wipe off easy. As you can see, I have all this dirt and stuff in here from that little mud incident. So it just needs a good clean in here, and we'll be back to pristine shape. We've got the tack form dash mount up in here. That's been great. I love that. Honestly, I recommend this over any of the others. It's no drilling, nothing like that. You literally just undo, I think it was like 2 bolts that are in the dash. You undo those, pop in a bracket and bolt it right back down, and you're good to go. We also have the Pro clip for the radio right there. So I have 2 rugged radios. I was able to put one in both my vehicles. Definitely recommend the rugged radios. They haven't let me down yet. And I'll be completely honest about this backflip bed cover. There are cheaper ones on Amazon that are, like, in my opinion, way better. I had a soft roll cover from Amazon. It was way more waterproof than this. I would probably go back to that, honestly. Actually, I might go back to that eventually, but maybe not, because I'm looking for a bed cap to finish out this build back here. But there's also a trifold hard cap or hard bed cover that I'll link down below. That one was amazing. I wish I had kept that one and not went with this one, because honestly, I've never needed to really roll this up all the way. So the trifold stops here, and that's more than enough space to get into my bed. So I wish I would have kept that one. I'll link that one below. That one's on Amazon. I think it was like $300, maybe less than that. And then one of the best, cheapest mods that I did that's still holding up to this day, that I still recommend. Oh, I broke them, I guess. Were these bed lights, but they're broke now. So they don't seem to be working. I must have fried them with the water. Anyways, I highly recommend doing the bed light mod. I'll link that video below where I installed them, but I'll have to trace where I ruined the wire. I probably got water in it or something, and they probably just popped the fuse, or I don't know. We'll figure that out. That's not the first time that I did that though. Anyways, that's the basis of it. 30,000 miles. There's not much of an update. The only thing is to watch out for is to check your brake pads and how to fix the rattle on the window unit. So that's it. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.